powered by Riverside.
Islam, and welcome to another edition of the Moorish Light. And we will begin, as is always required of us, with prayer. Islam, Islam, Islam. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, True Ali. Amen. And of course, Islam, Islam, Islam. Welcome to another edition of the Moorish Light Continues, where the revolution is a podcast. We begin by giving praises to the Almighty God, Allah, the causeless cause and the rootless root from which all things have come. We give honor to the last prophet in this dispensation. I give honor to Grand Sheikh John Gibbon Zeal, who built upon the foundation. And I'd like to give a special honor to my teacher, Grand Sheikh Richardson Dingle Eel, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and as well to Grand Sheikh Timothy Dingle Eel hyphen, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, modern day Moses and Aaron. Honor to Marcus Messiah Garvey and the great emancipator Abraham Lincoln. Honors to Supreme Grand Sheikh and Sheikess Prather Eel, Supreme Grand Sheikess Louise Dingle Eel, the noblest. Honorary Supreme Grand Sheikh Thorn Eel and his wife Sheikess Thorn Eel, and to our current Grand Sheikess and National Grand Sheikess Tiffany Jones Beck. Islam, Islam, and welcome to the Moorish Light, the Soul School. Shining light, clearing up the confusion, and teaching the basic facts. Our objective is unity and manifesting the ultimate goal of the Moorish movement. We are not going to dispute Charters, who is the Supreme Grand Sheikh. We are here to establish a basic foundation of the Moorish movement and love and understanding. And since this is the Moorish Light, it's only right that we should define light as it applies to our program. Spiritually, light symbolizes knowledge, truth, divine presence, hope, guidance, and purity, representing awareness and the path away from spiritual darkness, in parenthesis, ignorance and sin, towards enlightenment, goodness, and union with the divine, appearing across cultures as God's creation and a wisdom or a guiding force for humanity. It signifies wisdom, life, revelation, and the illumination of the spirit within. Oh, that light is something else, I'm telling you. That light is something else. And of course, we always open up reading from the Holy Quran. And today we will be reading two surahs, two ayats from the same surah. The surah is Surah 39. And first we're going to read Surah 32 from, ayat 32 from Surah 39. It says, who then have done doth more wrong than one who utters a lie concerning Allah and rejects the truth when it comes to him? Is there not in hell an abode for blasphemers? When the creature deliberately adopts and utters falsehoods against his own creator in spite of the truth being brought, as it were to his very door by Allah's signs? What offense can we imagine more heinous than this? In Christian theology, this is blasphemy against the Holy Ghost, spoken of in Matthew 12:31 through 32. Whosoever speaketh the word against the Son of Man, and in parenthesis Christ, it shall be forgiven him. But whosoever speaketh against the Holy Ghost, it shall not be forgiven, neither in this world and neither in the world to come. And it says, Surah 3, ayats 151, and Surah 16:29. So, and then I want to go to 60. Well, see, there's something that goes along with this lie. There's a consequence. So I just want to read to you the consequence. And some of us are actually living the consequence, and we don't even realize that we are. So let's read. On the day of judgment, will thou see those who told lies against the law? Their faces will be turned black. Is there not in hell an abode for the haughty? As spotless white is the symbol of purity, honor, and truth, so black is the symbol of evil, disgrace, and falsehood. Perhaps black in connection with hell also refers to the scorching punishment of the fire. And it also gives here a reference in footnote 4333. See, and I just read that to you, Surah 39:32, and the footnote as well. So, in essence, in the United States, we still function on a slave paradigm of black and white. Well, guess what? The black and white thing has existed for eons. And the European decided to define himself as white, but to put you in a chattel's place, in a property's place, in a place that classifies you as less than human, with the ability to imitate, he gave us black and called himself white, the divine one, the right one, the holy one. And we're just the opposite of that. Even to the point when they used to teach, and I don't know if they still teach evolution, but in evolution, we were the missing link between man and the ape at some point in time. So eventually they just dropped the lies and they just, move on. So the point is that we have to get out of this belief stage and step into reality. And when I say that, what I'm actually saying to you is you got to learn some history. You got to learn, not pick a word out and define the word by itself, but be able to apply it to context in history, context in the Constitution, context in the divine lessons, context in the historical lessons, context morally. So when we look at black here, we're looking at black here from a perspective of divine. What the black according to science means death. And what that means is that you are out of touch with the great God as well as yourself. So understand that in this country, even though we don't want to acknowledge it, black does not put us in the human family, but it does allow you the power. They've opened a door for you to be able to imitate whatever the powers may be. So let's our theme today. I'm gonna stop sharing this. And our theme today is, I gotta look at my paper. I'm aging, that's all I can tell y'all. Um, Moors contributed to world civilization, and who are the Moors? Now, before I begin that, I'm going to make this statement, and I will make this statement every time I have a show until you clearly understand. More science, nor prophet Noble Drew Ali should be classified under black or black rhetoric, or actually black history. Our job is to replace, dissolute, and remove these labels and put them under their proper place in history as slave terms. So we need to be very clear about that, because I think that sometimes in our need to be accepted and to belong, we feel like we have to join the Black Party. And in order to join the Black Party, you have to actually truly deny what Moorish science is. So those two things just don't go together. It's like oil and water, just won't mix. So um, just wanted to make that um, make that statement. And I want us to, we're going to look at, and I'm going to use AI, and I can use AI because you know what? I know the history, and I've got the books, and I've read the books. And so I can use AI very liberally because I already know what I know. But if you go to AI to be your first teacher, you might end up a tad bit confused. I just want to make that clear. So, where are we going to go first? Let's see. Let's talk about black for a minute. Let's talk about, because I think we're celebrating uh, 100 years of so-called Black history. So I asked a specific question, and I'm gonna share the answer with you. Since the first United States Census in 1790, racial categories used to identify the Black or African American population has changed approximately 10 to 12 times through significant shifts in terminology, detailed subcategories, the method of identification. These changes reflect evolving social politics, pseudoscientific theories of race, and the impact of the civil rights movement. No, no people on the face of the earth identify like this. But let's read a little further. Evolutions of the census. The official terms used for African Americans have transitioned through several distinct phases. 1790 through 1810, the census used three primary categories: free whites, all other free persons, and slaves. From 1820 to 1840, all other free persons was renamed to free colored persons. From 1850 to 1880, the primary categories became black. So if this is the case, then we didn't evolve to black, we went back to black. And mulatto. And of course, when you talk about mulatto, you're going to talk about the quadroon and the octoroon and how many drops of blood. You suppose one drop of our blood breaks down the whole European system and you become one of us. From 1900 to 1920, Negro became a standard category while mixed race subcategories were eventually dropped. And that's the quadroon, the octoroon, and the mulatto. This didn't happen to 1900 now. Prophet Noble Drew Ali came on the scene in 1913. 1930, the term black, I need you to listen to this, was officially replaced by Negro on forms. Wait a minute. But y'all say y'all progressed to black. No, you went backwards. You went backwards. 1970, the category was updated to Negro or black. 2000, the phrasing expanded to Black African American, or Negro. 2020, the term Negro was officially removed from the definition, leaving Black or African American. So you heard me say something about quadroons, mulattoes. So here it's called the historical mixed race categories. It says during the mid to late 1800, categories based on blood quantum were introduced to measure perceived shares of African ancestry. These were often motivated by pro-slavery leaders and pseudo-scientific racial hierarchies. Mulatto, added in 1850 for both free and enslaved populations to denote half black ancestry, used until 1930. Quadroon, introduced in 1890 for those with one-fourth African ancestry or one grandparent. Octoroon, introduced in 1890 for those with one-eighth or less African ancestry, one great-grandparent. So it goes on major structural changes, and we need to really investigate what has been happening to us as a people. Because we run around here pumping our chests. We celebrating 100 years of what exactly? Is it delusion, illusion, deception? What we doing here? Let's just ask the question. What are we doing? It says self. Look. Now we're the only ones doing this. Beyond terminology, the way identity is recorded has undergone three fundamental shifts. Self-identification, that's 1970, prior to 1960. Census enumerator takers determine a person's race by observation. Since 1970, individuals have self-identified their own race. Multiracial options, 2000. For the first time, Americans were allowed to select one or more races to describe themselves. This might be making sense to somebody, because it's really not making sense to me. By 2020, the black population in combination with other races grew significantly, reaching 46.9 million people. Detailed origins, 2020. A write-in area was added for the first time, allowing respondents to provide detailed ethnic origins such as Jamaican, Haitian, Nigerian, or Ethiopia. More than half, 53.7%, of the black population reported specifically as African American in these detailed responses. So I thought that would be a good jumping point. Talk about what has happened to us, because somehow or another we kind of think we're progressing, and we're like the dog chasing his tail. We're just running around in circles. So let me see, which one is this? No, not there yet. No, not there yet. So I asked the question, and I think I have to stop sharing and come back and share this. So I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to go to this. I want to share the screen again. And the reason why I have to do this is because let me read. So my question is black a nationality? It says no, black is not a nationality. It's a racial classification or identity. While nationality refers to a specific country where a person is a citizen, Nigerian American, Jamaican American, black denotes a broader category based on physical characteristics, ancestry, or shared social cultural experiences. Key distinctions include a social construct, usually used to describe a people of African descent or those with dark skin. Nationality, a person's legal citizenship in a country. Ethnicity, and in parentheses, for example, African American, Afro Caribbean. Cultures or national origins. A person who identifies as black can have any nationality, such as British, Canadian, Nigerian, or American, meaning the term does not represent a single sovereign nation. So I'm just trying to make sure that I cover my bases. Um, so, it's really important that we do our research. And part of what you have to understand is that I've been doing this for almost 50 years, so I kind of like have a foundation that I have established, and I've been in the Moorish Science Temple. This will be my 51st year, and I've been fighting the same fight. What happened to my background? I lost my background here. Give me a second. You ever notice I'm always losing something on here? Let's see. Mm-hmm. And I was doing so good. Um, I'll figure it out. Oops. What did I do? Go back here. Let me go back here. Y'all notice I'm always having some issues, so, but it's all good. Go back to the studio. Okay, so, I think it's over here. Let's go there. Let's Well, I have lost my background. I don't know where it's at. Yeah. So while I'm doing that, so I don't know why this wants to do this right now. So we're gonna move on. Okay, so I'll get back to that. Okay. So let's just move on because we do have some other things to share. So let's share. Um, so we talked about that. We talked about we've changed our identity from 10 to 12 times. Checking and see what this is. Oh, that was a holy line. And so now we're going to go to, see if I can find it. I know I have it. We're going to go into the Moorish literature, actually. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're going to go into, well, let's go here since it's here. Now, a lot of times we say, what is the shade of our skin? And we say olive. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity to see that we're not talking about a green olive. There are 6 categories of olive, and you see it from the very light to the deepest olive. I want you to see it. I got a whole page here, so you can just see your little heart out. So when we say olive, we're not the only people. Everybody in the Asiatic race is a shade of olive. They're not black. They're not brown. They are olive. And so I just wanted to make sure that you understood that it's from the deepest to the lightest or the lightest to the deepest, but it is not brown. It is a shade of olive. So let's make sure that we get that point. I'm hold this up here for a minute. I want you to look at it and digest it so that you can know, you can stop saying my skin is brown, red, green, and orange. The shade, what is the shade of our skin? Olive. And we need to be very clear about that. And is that just does apply to Moorish Americans? No, it applies to the whole Asiatic race. Who is the Asiatic race? Anyone that's not a European. That's how simple it is. Two races, multiple nationalities, but two separate races. The world has only been divided twice, Europe and Asia. That's it. But the world has been reclassified and redefined. So instead of seeing two continents now, you see seven. And as I continue to look at movies and I continue to read and do different things, I notice, well, Asiatics, why we always fighting each other? Why are we always trying to control each other instead of simply just respect each other? I was watching the conflict between the Chinese and the Japanese, the Koreans and the Japanese. And I'm just wondering, like, well, why are we as an Asiatic race always at each other? And as long as we stay at each other, this allows the other race to come in and start running your business and stealing your birthrights and stealing your resources and convincing you that you're less than them in your own land. And over here in the United States, we got it the worst because not only did we um, not only did we go into slavery, we went into chattel slavery, which meant that we were actually dehumanized. We were given a color, and I just read all those definitions to you, so I don't have to go through that again, hopefully. So understanding that if those terms still exist, so does slavery, but not on necessarily a physical level, but on a mental level. Oh yeah, if you still claiming it, yes, we even still carry the man's name, and some of us think that a name change is the best way to be different. No, you got to change your mind, not your name, but you got to change it. You got to change your name. Don't get it wrong, but you definitely got to change your mind. It's it's a different way of thinking. So we're gonna. So hopefully you've digested this. You see this color scale or the olive scale, the skin tone, and I won't have to have that debate again. But I just want to make sure that you understand. We've changed our identity under Negro, Black, and Colored 10 to 12 times. No, the Chinese been Chinese for thousands of years, and you know, the French been French, and Germans been Germans, Egyptians been Egyptians. Well, see, when we want to do history, we want to turn around and make everybody black instead of just changing ourselves. So let's go back. Let's stop sharing this. And let's go to our next share. And our next share will be let's talk about the contribution of the Moors. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because you can find more. You can go through the history, and So then this basically talks about, and you know, a lot of us think that we only impacted Spain, but we impacted all of Europe, and that's what we need to understand. So it says during their nearly 800 years rule of Al-Andalusia, Andalusia, if I'm not mistaken, the Moors transformed the Iberian Peninsula into a global center of science, culture, and luxury, effectively bridging the knowledge of the ancient world with the European. So, what are some of the things that we did? Science and medicine introduced the Arabic numerals and the concept of zero to Europe, replacing the Roman numeral. They also pioneered algebra, and in parentheses, Arabic algebra and trigonometry. Medicine scholars like Al-Zawahiri, the father of modern surgery, authored medical encyclopedias used in European universities for centuries. They introduced advanced surgical tools, pharma- pharmacological knowledge, and hospitals with running water. Now go down to the creek and get a bucket. Astronomy developed the astrolabe, astrolabe, astrolabe and refined star charts, which were essential for both timekeeping and the future age of exploration. So I want you to understand when we say we Moors, we're talking about this kind of history. We're talking about what we have done for civilization, not what we done on the plantation. So we got agriculture and cuisine. New crops introduced essential Spanish staples like rice, saffron, citrus fruits, oranges and lemons, sugarcane, almonds, and pomegranates. Irrigation revived and expanded the Roman system with complex networks of wells, channels, transforming dry landscape into fertile gardens and farmland. Dining habits. The legendary musician Zaryab is credited with introducing a concept of a three-course meal: soup, main course, and dessert, popularizing the use of crystal glassware. Have you ever tried to talk so proper until your tongue get all twisted up? And I'm like, I know how to speak correctly, but you know sometimes I get a little overzealous. Architect and infrastructure. Iconic landmarks, building enduring masterpieces such as the Alhambra in Granada, the Great Mosque of Cordoba, and the Girardot in Seville. Engineering introduced the horse arch, intricate tile mosaics, and internal courtyards with fountains to manage heat. Now, so that means they had indoor heat. I was looking at a Korean movie, and when they built their houses, and this is back in ancient time, they had heated floors. But now here all of a sudden it's just it seems like it's a new thing. And when we understand who we are as Asiatics and the great things we have given to the world, uh, you know, the people tell you that Alexander Graham Bell didn't discover the telephone. He stole the idea. But we don't get it. I mean, they telling us now, but see, they doing it in a way that they still putting it under that black. And that's where the problem starts. Urban development. At its peak, Cordoba was Europe's most modern city, featuring paved streets, public lighting, and over 900 public baths at a time when most European cities were in the Dark Ages. See, this is what I want you to understand. Do you know when they kicked us out of Spain, one of the first things they did was destroy the bathhouses? Who would have thought it? I've even read in history where they said they had electricity and running water in Spain. And I've read a lot in my many years. And I don't have, and some of the books that I've had have dissolved. But, you know, I'm just saying to you, people, wake up. Universal education. While much of Europe was illiterate, the Moors promoted universal literacy and established 17 major universities. Libraries. The Library of Al-Hakim II in Cordoba held over 400,000 to 600,000 manuscripts, dwarfing the largest contemporary European library. Language. Roughly 4,000 Spanish words have Arabic root, particularly those beginning with Alhamdulillah for pillar. So, we oftentimes don't give ourselves credit. And, I have to say it like this because some of us see Jesus as a European and we can't think beyond that moment. And once we get beyond that moment and we see Jesus for his true self, we're going to see things a lot differently. Um, it says music introduced the oud, which evolved into the Spanish guitar, early forms of what became flamenco. Social games popularized chess across Europe as a game of high strategy. Philosophy preserved and translated the lost works of Aristotle and Plato's, which were eventually retranslated into Latin and fueled the European Renaissance. So understand, I need you to understand this is where our forefathers came from. This is what our forefathers did for the world. And this is why it's on us today to recognize what Prophet Noble Drew has brought us so we can bring the world back in tune with the great God Allah and with Hebrew law. We out of tune. We're out of tune with constitutional law. We out of tune with Hebrew law. Because see, some of us think we want to do what we want to do and how we want to do it, and it's okay. It is not. It just is not. So the Dutch tile that people put in there. That's our invention. We did that. So, trying to make sure I do have my other piece up. Because guess what? I'm not seeing it. So let me go find it. And this is what Noble Drew Ali was bringing to us. And I gotta find it. Always gotta find it. And I have all the stuff prepared, but for some reason I keep losing it. Oh, I forgot. I done left my whole script. I done got all carried away and I left my whole script. So, so just understand how much we have invested in society, in the world, in the civilization of the world. Let us understand that. So we're gonna give me a second here. Okay, got it. So I have to stop sharing this so that I can share this next piece with you. So one of the things we need to understand is and it says here, and the term Mohammedan and Moors is very interchangeable, but the way they try to teach it to you, they add so many other little terms in it. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to look up a word because I heard somebody they talked about being Moors were Berbers. Can you stop? Just stop letting this European direct you. But anyway, It says to the early representatives of this faith, the world's debt is incalculably great. For it was they who transmitted the treasures of Greek literature from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance. They who originated, let me make it large, the graceful forms of which the Taj Mahal and Alhambra are the most famous examples. It was they who contributed to the science of algebra, chemistry, astronomy, and medicine. They who dotted the Saracen Empire with universities, and we're basically just re-emphasizing what I just read, and who built at Baghdad and Cairo the most renowned universities of the world. During those centuries of ecclesiastic despotism, when the Christian church suppressed all intellectual activities save those that were theological. A prime example of that is when most of our so-called HBCUs back in the day were theological colleges where they trained ministers. They got a statue up on Morgan campus that tells you that it was first a ministry school, a school of ministry. And now this is one of my favorite terms. Anybody who know me in the more science. During the centuries of ecclesiastical despotism, and this is when they took us from a state of knowing to a state of believing. And so when we went from the state of knowing to believing, we got into what you call repetition. So it says, let me read it to you again. During the centuries of ecclesiastical despotism, and you know that's tyranny, that means you don't have no options. When the Christian church suppressed all intellectual activity, save those that were theological, causing a talent that reproduces to supplant the genius that creates. So all of that great work we were doing or did in Spain, and the great works we even did over here, because one of the things you better understand is that over 10,000 years ago, we made water highways. We dredged the Niagara, and the Mississippi, or the nigger, whatever you want to call it. Those are dredged waterways. They did not always exist. And so when you think about that, think about supplant. They supplanted what? They supplanted the genius that creates. They cause the talent that reproduces to supplant the genius that creates. So then talent is only limited to what people kind of understand. And another prime example of this, if you look at the Olympics today, and you look at a lot of areas where they kind of like kept us shut, everywhere they open the door and let us in. Have you noticed how we excel? Why would we excel like that? Because we are the firstborn. We are the most powerful. We are the elder brothers of the nations. But we are the ones who who gotten so enslaved and so caught up until all we keep trying to do is imitate. We don't need to imitate. We are creators. Somewhere in our Holy Quran it teaches heaven and hell are states of minds. And we create that state of mind. We either create a heavenly state of mind or we create a hellish state of mind. Well, it's European in this system, and if I go back in history, we can't even give the European credit for Negro slavery. We can't even give them that because we did that. When our officials was on a boat and got captured, and they took them to Spain, the Queen said, "Oh no, we can't hold on to these people. We got to let these people go." And what did we give them in exchange? Our brothers and our sisters. And you know, this thing about dark olive and light olive has always been an issue among the Asiatic race. I don't know what the problem is. Even when we look at the caste system is a result of the priesthood falling. Because the law only sees us as, he sees us all as equals. So who claimed superiority based on what? So when we talk about being Moorish Americans, we're not just talking about calling ourselves something different. We're talking about reclaiming our history, reclaiming that genius, waking up that genius that's in us. As a matter of fact, I know that's what it is. Because when we look at what is Islam, let me just help you out, because I got to get you to think. I got to get you to think a little differently when it comes to more science. I got to get you to think on a broader and deeper scale. It says the object of a man's life, according to Islam, is its complete unfoldment. Islam teaches that man is born with unlimited capacities for progress. Here's what needs to happen, though. We need to use that unlimited capacity for progress for the Moorish divine and national movement, because we seem to do it so well for the European. But when it comes to us doing what we need to do, because folks are going to do what they need to do to keep this plantation functioning. They're going to keep this mental plantation functioning. Our job is to get us off of that mental plantation. Our job is to uplift us so that we understand who we are and what we're capable of. For us to get our people to see themselves as a nation and not a race, to see themselves with a nationality and not a color, to see themselves with understanding and not belief, to walk in faith with truth and not assumption or presumption. That is what we are here in the Moorish Science Temple to do. Not to debate, okay, I say the Negro, black according to science mean death, and I go in the law dictionary and start speaking Latin. Like I have arrived. Not to sit back behind our backs and tell people don't come to the Moorish Science Temple because you got something better, but you're wearing the fez that you got in the Moorish Science Temple. You're calling Prophet Noble Drew Ali like you're functioning in the Moorish Science Temple, like somebody ordained you to do something. Please stop. We are a great and wonderful people. And when we start thinking in one accord, we could start with the flags. Oh, here, Allah bless me. Help me, Allah. We could start with the flags. How about flying our flags one way, the Prophet's way? Stop letting this European dictate to us what we need to do. He can only dictate to us when we lack faith in what it is that we have. And some of us want to go real spiritual, which is fine. That's fine. But also do not forget that we got to get our people out of this constitutional ignorance. So you celebrating 100 years, you should be celebrating over 10,000 years of history. That's what you should be celebrating. You should be celebrating how you have touched every nation. As Moors, we've touched every nation on the face of the earth. That's what we're teaching about. I don't know what nobody else talking about, but I do know how great my forefathers were. I do know the great God Allah. And I do know that we need to get our constitutional character in order. I do know that. Not because I said so, Because we need to let the world know that Moorish science is a universal concept. It is for all mankind. It ain't just for Moorish Americans. We just have a specific job we have to do specifically for ourselves. Here it states, I love my people. I desire their unity in mind back to their own free national and divine standards. Because day by day, they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. Dred Scott was unconstitutional. So if you still saying you black and we just realized that we went back to black, you still unconstitutional. If you say you whatever, y'all keep making up names. I can't keep up. But you know, but here, Allah was so merciful, he sent a prophet. He said, come all ye Asiatics of America and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights. And learn that you are not Negroes, blacks, colored, or Ethiopians. Because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and last until 1865 during the time of slavery. So according to a lot of our folks, the time of slavery is still going on up in your head. You're going to learn to respect the Moorish Science Temple, or you're going to learn to respect Moorish science. Moorish science is not a theory of blackness. It does not come under black rhetoric. It is not an alternative to blackness. It is a solution to blackness. Because blackness is a mental illness. So, I'm just trying to, in the best that I can, touch your heart, touch your mind. I just need to get you to think just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Stop acting like black is concrete. It ain't concrete. And a lot of us say, we started saying we were black and proud with James Brown sliding across the floor. But guess what? We went back to black. We went back to black. So, of course, I'm going to get ready to close out in a minute. So I do want to invite you. My home temple is at 1055 North Milton Avenue. Sunday school from 12 to 2. Holy night 8 to 10. As well as 2900 West Pressman Street. We're preparing for actual Freedom Day 2026, September the 26th. And I know some of y'all don't think that's important, but you think it's important enough to put your fez on and march up and down that street for that black stuff. You better start you better start standing for your own. And when I say standing for your own, that includes everybody. We have not, as the people, received our just due. Because it is said that every man must worship under his own vine and fig tree, and there is no black fig tree. There is no colored fig tree. So, in closing, read a portion of the divine warning. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost. So something was lost. And that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. One more time. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So, Moors, we got a job to do. We got to demonstrate how love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice works. According to Prophet Noble Drew Ali, according to the revelation he brought to us through the great God Allah. So, of course, it's coming to a close. And what can I say? I love teaching Moorish science. I love my people. They don't think so because they be trying to step to the left side. Left side, not a good side. Step to the right side. So please remember, next week, same time, same place, same station. The Moorish Light continues. This podcast is a revolution. Remember, embrace the Prophet, embrace Allah, embrace Divine and National, embrace one another, and embrace the mission. Maybe next week we'll talk about the mission so we can help each other get on the same page. Because we cannot intellectualize ourselves out of this mess we find ourselves in. So, of course, I'd like to once again thank you for allowing me to bring to you the Moorish Light in love and understanding. And in the near future, I'm going to have some guests on here. I'm thinking of the first person I'm going to have as a guest on my podcast. Oh, it's going to be interesting because I'm going to be in charge. I love it. But anyway, you know, I love you. Allah loves you. The Prophet loves you. Now it's time for you to love yourself.